This is so close to being a good card, man. This is so close. Hey guys, how's it going today? The Skilled Roy here, and today I am here to review some custom cards I've seen on the LOR subreddit and Discord. Now, this is going to be kind of an interesting sort of video because haven't really completely functionally created a proper rating system yet. Just for the time being, at least, I'm going to be going from a scale of F to S. So Fs are like basically cards that I just don't think are going to work, or cards that I just don't really like or enjoy. And go all the way up to S, which are going to be things that I explicitly want to see in the game, or cards I think that will help develop the game a lot into what I could possibly see it being printed towards in the future. Now, this is going to be rated on a variety of different scales, though. The first one is going to be balance, so of course, no 1 mana 10/10s or anything like that. The next one, of course, is going to be design, how creative and interesting the card's mechanics are. Right after that, there's going to be flavor. This one's going to be more important for the champions, but make sure that the card's art, the name, and what the champion really does all fits well together. And lastly, is going to be functionality, aka, does this card actually function in the game? Make sure you understand the timing windows of when certain effects can occur, that sort of thing. But otherwise, let's get right into it. Alright, so let's look at this next card here. Lilting Banshee, a 3 mana 3/1 with Fearsome. Last Breath, give enemies -1/-0 this round, and Nightfall, kill me, then revive me. Very, very interesting. So for those of you who don't know, right now there's a Nocturne Diana Nightfall deck that has been sort of splashing a couple Fearsome cards. In fact, some Nocturne decks are actually just going right with Elise instead, and then instead of splashing for like some Noxian cards instead. So this is actually a really, really interesting card. I actually really, really like this one. Right off the bat, the Nightfall is an interesting choice. We obviously know that Shadow Isles has access to Nightfall. The Last Breath effect gives you some serious options, like with things such as Unspeakable Horror or Vile Feast, if you need to quickly pressure to get everyone's health down lower so you get an attack in. And this can end up being sort of a conditional way to use Skitterer. Now, it's not as good as Skitterer in my personal opinion, just simply because it doesn't affect the Spider synergy that some of the Fearsome decks can go really hard on. But at the same time, though, it also has the advantage of being able to hypothetically, with the right setup, lower the attack even more with just one card. So, it's interesting. I really do like the card a lot. The 1 health is, I actually think, perfect for this, because if you put it to 3/2 to make it equal to, say, Skitterer stats, it's actually, ironically, still relevant for you, because you won't be able to kill with 1 easy ping. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. There's some really interesting combos you can do with this with, say, Chronicler of Ruin and things similar to that. So, you know what? I'm thinking of giving this an A. Really great job. Really solid work on this one. Alright, so right now we have the 5 mana card Succumb to Madness. Fast speed spell, target unit strikes itself. And it's in... no! No! This is so close to being a good card, man. This is so close. You know what the worst part is? I can see what they were going for too, right? Because here's the thing. Strike effects aren't actually in many regions, right? So they probably didn't want to give it to a region that had no strike effects yet, because that's intelligent, right? So the first thing they probably thought was like, okay, well, it's Demacia. Demacia has a lot of strike effects, but this misses one crucial element of most Demacian removal. First of all, I like how they costed it at 5, because that's actually what a lot of Demacian removal is costed at right now with Detain and Concerted Strike. But as I mentioned, those 2 cards, Concerted Strike, where 2 units of yours strike 1 unit of the opponent, and Detain, where you can capture 1 unit of the opponent and make sure that you protect the one that you have it capturing with. Those are both removal that are both like pretty strong pieces of removal, but they're both board dependent. Now, what does that mean? So, Demacia doesn't actually have many ways to actually kill units if they themselves do not have a board. Single combat, Concerted Strike, Detain, Judgment. All these cards require you to actually have something on the board so that you can actually do something with it. Now, what this actually is, though, Succumb to Madness, this is often sometimes a 5 mana vengeance that requires no board state from a Demacian deck, and that is completely opposite to what Demacia typically gets. So if I were to hypothetically change this instead, I would say this is better suited for something like Noxus, a region that already has some self-harm synergy, and this could be quoted more as a Berserker Rage type of thing, where you cast Berserker Rage on someone. You could even give them an attack and then have them strike themselves, or something similar to that. And it also makes sense because Draven and other cards in Noxus already have strike effects. So that's definitely a hypothetical way you could do it if you really wanted to. Unfortunately, in Demacia, it's just not. It doesn't fit within the region's typical guidelines to have a removal spell that is accessible without having a board state. And I think for that reason, unfortunately, even though I like the rest of this card, I'm going to have to give it a C. Alright, next up we have Lissandra, 7 mana, 6/5 with play, Frostbite an enemy. And then round start, Frostbite it again. Okay. And its level up is round and your allies have 12 plus more total power than your enemies. Now let's look at the level up before I really talk about both. The level up is simply +1/+1 once you achieve that. Nice. It still keeps the play Frostbite, but then frostbitten enemies never thaw. That is some great flavor text. There will be no thaw, one of the most famous Lissandra quests. Quotes. Now, right off the bat, I'm intrigued because right now we currently have the Infinite Mind Splitter in Standard, where it is a 8 mana 8/8 that when you play it, it targets 2 things and then stuns them every turn after that. Now this is really similar. You choose one immediately, you do get some immediate value, and then every turn after it stays frostbitten. So it can still block unlike a stun, but it also helps towards her round end. She gets some immediate effect right away. There's a couple different trade-offs here. Now, if it's just like the level 1 card, it is inherently a little weak, I think. The fact that you also have to have more total power, that means you already have to have a decent board state when you play this card. It feels kind of redundant. If you have 12 or more total power, you're having to look at least like a couple Frostbites here, including her own. So it's interesting, but the level up is just so powerful. It's frightening. It truly is. Like with that makes this card almost makes Winter's Breath a great card, and that is saying something, right? Winter's Breath being the frostbite everything, and if they have 0 attack, kill them instead, which is really powerful. So right off the bat, I'm a little concerned at level 1's power level because I think it's a little weak, especially when you compare it to something like Sejuani. But damn, that level up is really strong, and I feel like you could get some crazy value out of it, right? You completely shut down a lot of different types of decks and basically force them to start moving their own units if they never get unfrozen. So on a one half the side, I'm like, okay, it's a weaker level 1, but a much more powerful level 2. So overall, I'm a huge fan of it, both flavorfully wise as well as like gameplay. I think it's really solid. I think there's some buffs I would personally give to the front half, to level 1 side, just to make sure it's more consistent. I also might change the level up, but overall, I think the fantasy element of just icing the opponent's entire board and having a complete lockdown because you're playing Lissandra and that's what she is, you know, it's just like it feels really good if you get that level up off. So you know what? It's tough. This is tough. I'm stuck between 2 grades here, boys. I'm stuck. I'm gonna give it a solid A. I'm gonna give it an A. You know what? The flavor alone, combined with I think overall an incredibly powerful level 2, I think I'm really sold on it. I think you could buff the level 1 decently here, and it wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But I think you played it really safe here, and I think that is completely fine. I'd rather things be played safe than be completely broken. This is a simple, small buff change, I think, and this card can become legitimately very successful. And overall, absolutely great work on the level 2. I think that's absolutely perfect, and it's really great how you've found a way to make even cards like Winter's Breath somewhat more interesting and more viable for the average person. Now, that's not it, though. Of course, Lissandra also comes with a signature spell. Now, I'm reviewing it here separately because every signature spell in the game has to stand alone as its own card in its own region as well. So in this case, we have Iceborne Subjugation. Steal an enemy if it's a follower with 0 power. Otherwise, frostbite it now and at next round start. Ooh. This one is a little spicy. So possession currently exists in the game, and that is taking a follower for the round. This is a permanent steal as long as it has 0 power murder when you first steal it. And when played with Lissandra, only frostbitten enemies never thaw. So if you were to steal it and then take it to your side when she was level 2, it would then thaw, and then you would be able to use Iceborne Subjugation in that situation, which is really great choice there. This is exactly perfect for like the flavor of her thralls are. This is really cool. I like it a lot. Now, let's talk about some issues with it, though. First things first, I do like the choice here that even if the target isn't a follower, you can still Frostbite it and at next round start as a slow speed 6 mana spell if you absolutely had to do that. And you know what? That's totally valid. I think that might be legitimate. Now, it does Frostbite it again at the next round start. So basically, you get an attack turn in and a defensive turn in with this if you cast it properly. Now, that is a little spooky, I'm not going to lie. And the fact that it also has the upside of being able to steal followers as well, permanently, it's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This plus like a brittle steal or even a flash freeze, it's a 9 mana permanent steal on any follower in the game. It's I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I do appreciate how original it is, but I feel like this one has to go back to the drawing board. I'm not sure Freljord is the best place for this type of effect. I think making something like a clone when Lissandra has killed something, add it to your hand, and it starts frostbitten or something like that. That's more resonant to me for Iceborne Subjugation anyways. I like the effect. It's very dangerous. The ability to use it as a spell outside of its conditional choice as well means it's never completely dead. It's bad, obviously, when it's not your best case scenario, but it's a little suspect. I'm a little hesitant on this one because I think it's a little too good. This could be a simple mana cost change, obviously. I think trying to keep it out of the range of like a turn 6 steal anything with a flash freeze is kind of important to sort of keep that in mind here. But conceptually, I like it a lot. It works really well as Lissandra's spell too. Obviously, it shifts around power a lot. It can steal things from the opponent, which is inherently a big swing in terms of difference in power, which is what her level up cares about in the first place. So as Lissandra's as her signature spell, I think it's very solid, and that was done really well. But I think it's just a little imbalanced. Some nerfs for sure for it. But yeah, I think overall, I'm going to have to give it a C, unfortunately. This one needs to go back to the drawing board, I think. All right, well, I think that's it for me for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing me your custom cards. They were actually super cool to look at. I'm going to keep looking for some more for the next video, of course. But please let me know if this is something you're interested in. We can definitely talk some more custom card and more card design, that sort of cool stuff. And if you have one that you really want my opinion on, please send it to me on Discord. I'll probably also include a email account you guys can send it to as well in the description of this video. But please, if you have anything you want me to sort of review for you, or if you need any help making these custom cards, please hit me up and we'll talk more about it. But until then, please subscribe if you like this sort of content, leave a comment, like, etc., etc. You know the usual thing. It really does go a long way, though, to really show me which things you guys are most interested in, what things you want to see, what things you don't want to see, that sort of shit. So, well, thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.